As the very first $80 Nintendo Switch 2 game, Mario Kart World feels very underwhelming to play, and it doesn't really feel like it's providing me with the experience that's worth $80. And this is not to say that I don't enjoy every single aspect of Mario Kart World, because I still believe they brought some cool things to the table. I just feel like there's too many things that don't really feel all that impressive, or just felt like a complete afterthought. But before I get into how I feel about Mario Kart World, I just want to quickly mention that I am a very casual Mario Kart player, and not a very good one at that, so I don't know too much about the competitive scene. I just mainly play this game for fun by playing with my friends, or just playing against random players online. So I don't plan on going into every single detail about Mario Kart World, because to tell you the truth, there are certain modes I straight up don't care about, like time trials or mirror mode. But I will be mainly looking at what I believe to be the core aspects of Mario Kart World, which are the standard races, free roam, knockout tour, and anything else that I feel the need to mention. But let's start by talking about the core gameplay changes they added into Mario Kart World. The driving honestly feels a lot more advanced since they decided to add some new racing techniques like charge jumping, rail riding, and wall riding, which honestly feels like a great addition. These new techniques are giving experienced players something new to learn, and I will be honest, these new techniques are pretty hard to master, at least for me, because I would constantly attempt to use these new tricks and I would always mess up. But I like that there's an obvious skill gap between players who know how to do these new mechanics and players who don't. They also made some more gameplay changes by expanding the amount of players that can play together in the standard game mode. Instead of only playing with a maximum of 12 players, now you can play with a whopping 24 players, which is honestly a massive change that I really love, because it makes races feel bigger than ever. And surprisingly, these races don't feel too cluttered or crowded, because I'm pretty sure they designed the new maps to be a lot more wider. And they also added some new items that feel pretty creative and fun to use, but they did unfortunately remove some items like the piranha plant and the fake item box, which is honestly disappointing. But I do like that you don't have to manually hold items behind your back anymore, because you can just hold it automatically now, which feels like a great change. And of course, the Mario Kart music has always sounded amazing in every single game, but the music in Mario Kart World is just on another level. There's literally hundreds of never heard before arrangements and remixes that all sound great while browsing through menus or cruising around in free roam. I only wish that this game brought back the music player from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, so I could manually choose the songs that I want to listen to. And I really love the new look and presentation of Mario Kart World, because the characters look so much more animated and lively, while the tracks themselves look really well designed and beautiful to look at. And I even love the smaller details like the new 3-dimensional look of the minimap. But for Mario Kart World, they decided to exclusively add only Mario characters, and while this might make a little bit of sense, I feel like this is the most boring direction they could have went with for this roster. And I'm only saying this because a lot of cool guest characters got removed, like Link, Isabelle, Inklings, and worst of all, the Miis. I just don't understand why we had to remove the Miis from Mario Kart World when they have been a staple since Mario Kart Wii, 7, 8 Deluxe, and Mario Kart Tour. I just simply can't find a good reason when Miis were such a creative way to self-insert yourself into these races as well. It just doesn't make sense. But let's take Sonic Cross Worlds as a prime example for a second. That game included guest characters like Minecraft Steve, Hatsune Miku, and SpongeBob. And yeah, you can argue these characters don't belong in the Sonic universe, but including these characters is still an amazing selling point because it makes the roster more memorable and interesting. But I will say they did add some new interesting Mario characters that I never expected, like the cow, Pianta, and the snowman, just to name a few. But I do have a problem with them not including notable characters like the Koopa Kids, Dry Bowser, Diddy Kong, PD Piranha, King Babam, Cranky Kong, Thwomp, Chain Chomp, and the list goes on. And even if they only wanted to look at obscure Mario characters, they could have added characters from games like Paper Mario, WarioWare, Mario RPG, Luigi's Mansion, or we could have looked at games from back in the day and added characters like King War or Mouser. I just feel like this roster could have been way more interesting with the many cool characters they have in their library. And if you want more characters and costumes, you have to put in some effort to unlock them, which I'm totally fine with. But in order to unlock some of the main characters, you have to play through the Grand Prix, and you unlock costumes by eating dash food, which can be found in different locations on the world map. But I hate the way you have to unlock NPC characters, because it straight up involves RNG and you have to be lucky. In order to unlock NPC characters, you need to get hit by Kamek, which has to be sent by another player. But the most annoying part about this item is that it's rare, and if I transform into a character I already unlocked, I just don't get anything. So they designed this item to be very frustrating if you're trying to unlock all of the characters. Another thing I don't really understand is the amount of costumes a character can unlock. For example, why are we giving Koopa 5 costumes but Donkey Kong and Pauline only gets 1 costume? That doesn't make any sense to me, and is giving me the idea that this game is either unfinished or they're intentionally holding back content. And I have a theory that maybe they're waiting for Donkey Kong Bonanza to come out to release more Donkey Kong and Pauline costumes, but if that's the case, I feel like that's the stupidest shit ever. Just release the costumes, like what are we doing? And a bunch of characters don't even get costumes at all, which is really stupid. So what they're trying to tell me is that they couldn't think of a costume for Goomba, so they couldn't have just thrown a random hat on him and just called it a day. Like what are we doing? This shit is just lazy. And the character select screen looked like a complete and utter mess, because for some reason they decided to separate the characters from the costumes. So instead of just clicking on Peach and browsing through the different costumes I have unlocked for her, I have to scroll across the whole entire screen just to look for a specific costume for Princess Peach, which is more inconvenient and complicated than it needs to be. And for carts, you unlock them by simply collecting a lot of coins, but for some reason they decided to remove cart customization, which ultimately kills all the creativity when it comes to selecting a cart. But at the very least, the carts still have different stats to add some variety and strategy, even though you can't customize them anymore. And they added a new mode called Free Roam where you can explore a massive interconnected open world where all of the tracks are connected to each other, and this is arguably Mario Kart World's biggest selling point, but sadly it ended up being the most disappointing part about this whole entire game. You can explore the whole entire world to complete hundreds of challenges that somewhat feels fun to play, and they can be used as a great way to learn the game's new mechanics, but my main issue lies with the rewards they give you for completing these challenges. But let's say you spend all your time and effort to complete a single challenge. It only rewards you with 1 sticker that you can use to decorate your profile in your cart, but out of the hundreds of stickers that you can earn from doing these challenges, you can only equip 1 singular sticker at a time, and that's it. And if anything, the biggest reason anyone would go out of their way to complete these challenges is just to unlock mirror mode. Because in order to unlock it, you need to complete 10 P-Switch challenges, drive over 10 question mark panels, and collect 10 Peach medallions. But me personally, I don't give a fuck about mirror mode whatsoever, so I don't see a good reason to do any of that shit. But let's say I did complete all of the challenges to unlock mirror mode. Completing the rest of these challenges would still feel like a waste of time, because I'm mainly doing this for stickers. And at first, I genuinely believed that this mode was going to be a lot more rewarding, because I originally thought you needed to exclusively play free roam to unlock all of the characters and the costumes. But nope, that's not the case at all. You can simply do that by playing literally any other mode. And yeah, you can use the challenges as a way to practice certain techniques, but again, you can literally do that by simply experimenting in any other mode. And I feel like they had a great opportunity to make this mode a lot more interesting by adding a story mode with cutscenes, instead of just sprinkling random challenges around the world with nothing behind it. And I went into free roam to explore the world with a couple of friends to see if the experience would be any better, and for the most part we were just wandering around confused trying to figure out what was even the point of this. And honestly, I feel like this mode is a lot less fun to play with friends, because they decided to remove all of the P-Switch challenges when playing online. But I wouldn't say it's all bad, because I feel like there are some good aspects of free roam. Like for example, I really love the rewind button as a feature because it's really helpful if I messed up on a challenge and I need to quickly fix my mistake. And I'm really happy they added a photo mode so I can take different pictures of myself or with my friends. And I guess it can be a nice change of pace to slow down, relax, and appreciate your surroundings, but at the same time, I feel like I would rather spend my time racing against players online, because to tell you the truth, I'm not opening Mario Kart for a peaceful experience. But for the amount of content they've added into free roam, the rewards are just not worth any of the effort, and I have absolutely no desire to play this mode at all. And while I do enjoy playing standard races, I have some mixed feelings about the forceful inclusion of intermission tracks, which are basically transitional tracks where you have to drive from one track to the next. And on paper, I love the idea that these tracks are connected to each other because it's giving more emphasis that this is an open world game, but since intermission tracks will make you race more than 3 laps, their transitional sections can sometimes feel like filler and completely unnecessary. But at the same time, I somewhat understand why Mario Kart World is trying to force intermissions, because they want it to feel different from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And I will admit, at first I didn't like intermission tracks, but I've been slowly warming up to them, because I realized at the end of the day, I'm just trying to race people and I don't really care how I do it. And if I really didn't want to play on intermission tracks, I could easily go back to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and basically play the experience that I'm looking for. They also made some massive changes to the waiting room by allowing players to explore and free roam, and while this is objectively better because you can get some practice in or get some collectibles before the race starts, I do miss looking at Miis walking around and interacting with each other. And this game has way less courses than Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but we still need to remember that Mario Kart 8 had well over 10 years of support, so it's understandable why it would be hard to compete. But I'm just hoping in the long run that Mario Kart World will eventually surpass Mario Kart 8 Deluxe in courses. And I decided to try a balloon battle in coin runners with a few of my friends, and honestly they are both pretty boring. And it doesn't really help that they didn't even bother developing any maps to cater to these battle modes either. But in general, it looks like they removed a bunch of features from Mario Kart World like unique battle arenas, they removed some battle modes like Bomb Blast, Shine Thief, and Renegade Roundup, they removed 200cc, and they removed custom item selection. And honestly, I would be very annoyed if I see them drip feeding these features back into Mario Kart World just to keep up with their content cycle, because all of this shit should be in the game day one. If you aren't gonna have content available day one, don't just simply give me the oh shit later. Take the time to innovate, evolve the content, and give me something new. But if they just want to slowly throw in old features, they have absolutely no excuse because it should be in the game day one, especially if they want to charge people $80. And I just don't understand why there isn't an easier way to play against other players with my friends online, because every single time we try to join a lobby together, it would get filled in like 2 milliseconds. Nintendo should allow us to create our own public lobbies or just allow us to queue up in a lobby together. It's just that simple, but this is Nintendo we're talking about. The online is never perfect, and they always find a way to fuck up the online features somehow, some way, every single time. And Knockout Tour is another new mode where you have to seamlessly race through 6 different tracks, but after each checkpoint, 4 players will get eliminated until there's only 1 player left standing. And honestly, I would easily consider this to be the best part about Mario Kart World. And I really like this mode because it's giving me the feeling of urgency while making me feel pressured to be in first place. But one of the things I really want to see from this mode is more rallies. And I know we already got a good handful of rallies, but I would just love to have more variety. And this doesn't just apply to Knockout Tour, but I would like to be able to spectate whoever I want after getting eliminated from a game, because for some reason they decided to only let you spectate whoever's in first place and nobody else. And even after all of these problems I just mentioned, I still enjoy playing Mario Kart World. But if you were to ask me what game do I prefer, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe or Mario Kart World, at the moment I would easily say Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And if you're looking for a Mario Kart game that isn't afraid to feature guest characters, a properly organized character select screen, kart customization, more maps, better battle modes, and well thought out features, I personally feel like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is the better game. And in general, I think it's really hard for Mario Kart World to compete because I personally feel like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is, dare I say, the best Mario Kart game of all time. But this is not to say that Mario Kart World is a bad game, because it still brought amazing features to the table like new racing techniques, 24-player races, character costumes, photo mode, and Knockout Tour. So I will always go back to play Mario Kart World, but I just feel like they focus way too much on free roam instead of focusing on the core modes of Mario Kart like the standard races. And if you were to ask me, is Mario Kart World worth $80? I will look you dead in your eyes and tell you hell the fuck no. At least for right now, this game is not worth $80 because it doesn't provide you with a complete and polished experience. And how can I call this a complete experience when they removed multiple items, characters, battle modes, battle arenas, 200cc, custom item selection, and some characters are straight up missing costumes, and they didn't even bother to properly organize the character select screen. There are just way too many problems and way too many things missing in order for me to call this a complete $80 experience. And this is why I consider this game to be underwhelming, because it doesn't feel finished. So I would either recommend picking up the Nintendo Switch 2 bundle, which basically makes Mario Kart World $50, or just pick up the game on the sale, or just buy Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, because at the very least it's still Mario Kart and you're getting a complete experience. But yeah, that's basically how I feel about Mario Kart World, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. Are you guys satisfied with Mario Kart World, or do you feel like they need to do more with the game? I would love to hear your thoughts, but thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in another video.